What a photo choice, huh? Chris Greer smiling like everything's fine, but Dolphins fans know better. After years of frustration, inconsistency, and missed opportunities, the Miami Dolphins have officially parted ways with general manager Chris Greer. And honestly, it feels like a new chapter is finally beginning in South Beach. Now, it's time to look ahead. Who's next to take over this team and guide Miami toward the greatness this fan base deserves? Today, we're breaking down the top Miami Dolphins GM candidates for the 2026 season, and trust me, there are some exciting names on the board. Before we dive deeper though, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. And of course, hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on your Miami Dolphins. Alright, back to business. The man currently holding the keys, at least for now, is Champ Kelly. He's stepping in as interim GM, taking control of the roster through the rest of the season. Kelly was brought in back in March 2025 as the team's senior personnel executive, his first stint with the organization. Before joining Miami, Kelly made his mark with the Las Vegas Raiders, serving as their assistant GM from 2022 to 2024, and even stepping up as interim GM in 2023 when the team moved on from Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. His NFL journey began all the way back in 2007 as a scout, grinding through the ranks. A man who's earned every opportunity. Now, let's be real, Kelly's got the inside track. He already has a working relationship with Stephen Ross, and that matters. Whether he keeps the job beyond this season will depend on how he handles these next few months, and how he sets the tone for the future of this franchise. We're about 9 weeks away from Miami's next full-time GM decision, and for the first time in a while, there's real hope that the right leader could finally bring the Dolphins to where they belong, back among the NFL elite. With the November 4th NFL trade deadline approaching fast, the clock is ticking for the Miami Dolphins. Interim GM Champ Kelly has just a few key moves left to prove he deserves that full-time title. But let's talk about some outside candidates who could step in if Miami decides to go in a new direction. One of the hottest names floating around right now is Ray Agnew, the assistant GM of the Detroit Lions. Dolphins fans are buzzing about this one, and for good reason. Agnew isn't just another executive climbing the ladder. He's a former NFL defensive lineman who played a full decade in the league, from 1990 to 2000, suiting up for multiple teams and earning a reputation for toughness and leadership. After hanging up the pads, Agnew transitioned into the front office world, joining the Los Angeles Rams as their director of pro personnel in 2016. His eye for talent and team building helped shape several of their key rosters. In 2021, he took the next step, joining the Detroit Lions as assistant GM, where he's helped engineer one of the most impressive franchise turnarounds in recent memory. The Lions' draft classes speak for themselves. Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brian Branch. All young, dynamic playmakers drafted since Agnew arrived. He's had a major hand in identifying and developing that talent, and that's exactly the kind of football vision Miami desperately needs. Another name that keeps coming up in NFL circles is Ed Dods, the assistant GM of the Indianapolis Colts. For years, Dods has been one of the most respected behind-the-scenes minds in football. His track record for scouting and player development has made him a top target in nearly every GM hiring cycle. Dods began his NFL journey back in 2003 as an intern with the then Oakland Raiders, slowly building his reputation as a sharp evaluator with a no-nonsense football mindset. He's interviewed for several GM positions over the past few seasons, but has turned a few down, waiting for the right opportunity. Could Miami finally be that chance? Time will tell. After his early days with the Raiders, Ed Dods spent nearly a decade sharpening his craft within the Seattle Seahawks organization, where he became one of the league's most respected personnel minds. His time in Seattle coincided with their rise into a powerhouse, a team built on sharp scouting and fearless decisions. In 2018, Dods joined the Indianapolis Colts as assistant general manager, a role he still holds today. Over the past several years, his name has become one of the most frequently mentioned in GM searches across the league. Teams like the Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Chargers, and Tennessee Titans have all interviewed him, but for one reason or another, things never quite aligned. Some say he's selective. Others say he's waiting for the perfect fit. Either way, Ed Dods remains one of the most coveted front office minds in football, and the Miami Dolphins would be smart to give him a serious look. But Dods isn't the only name worth watching. Another intriguing candidate is Chad Alexander, the assistant GM of the Los Angeles Chargers. Alexander's rise through the NFL ranks has been nothing short of impressive. Before joining the Chargers, he spent 5 years as the director of player personnel for the New York Jets, helping rebuild their roster piece by piece. And before that, he spent nearly 2 decades with the Baltimore Ravens, one of the most respected front offices in football. It's where he learned what winning culture looks like, drafting smart, developing talent, and building through the trenches. Now, Alexander's reputation is skyrocketing. Insiders around the league, and even Chargers fans, already sense that it's only a matter of time before he gets his shot to lead a team of his own. For Miami, he could be that next big name, a hungry, modern thinker ready to take this roster to the next level. So, Dolphins fans, it's your turn. Who do you want to see as the next general manager of the Miami Dolphins? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters, because this next hire could shape the future of the franchise for years to come. I'm not exaggerating. If you read some of the Chargers blogs right now, they're already writing replacement articles for Chad Alexander. That's how confident people are that he's on the verge of becoming an NFL general manager. In fact, one of the biggest Chargers fan sites just published an article calling Chad Alexander the perfect fit for the Miami Dolphins, only hours after Miami and Chris Grier officially parted ways. That tells you everything about how highly regarded Alexander is around the league. Many inside the NFL circles believe Alexander isn't just up and coming, he's ready right now. If Miami makes that call, there's even speculation that he could bring along Jesse Minter, the Chargers' defensive coordinator, to help install a tough, disciplined system in South Beach. That kind of Chargers-Ravens hybrid mindset, physical defense, smart roster construction, and long-term culture building, could be exactly what the Dolphins need to finally take that next leap. Imagine it, Alexander running the front office, Minter shaping the defense, and a new era of accountability and toughness taking hold in Miami. This could be more than just another front office shuffle. It could be the start of a transformation. The question now is simple. Will the Dolphins seize the moment? Let's talk about another name that's quietly gaining momentum, Josh Williams, the director of pro scouting and player personnel for the San Francisco 49ers. Williams might not have the title of assistant GM, but don't let that fool you. This guy is the real deal. He joined the 49ers organization back in 2011, starting out as an assistant in their scouting department. Over more than a decade, he's climbed every rung of the ladder, earning a reputation as one of the sharpest evaluators of talent in the NFL. By 2024, Williams had taken on his current role, overseeing both pro and college scouting, player development, and even helping with contract negotiations, a resume that screams leadership and versatility. This isn't just another front office executive grinding behind the scenes. Williams was a finalist for the Jacksonville Jaguars GM job last year. That tells you how respected he is around the league. He's been mentioned alongside some of the brightest up-and-coming minds in football, and insiders say it's only a matter of time before he runs a team of his own. And here's the thing. I've heard whispers from reliable sources saying Miami has already taken notice. Williams could be a dark horse candidate in this GM race, someone with fresh ideas and a proven eye for building sustainable success. If the Dolphins want a forward-thinking leader who's helped shape one of the NFL's most balanced rosters in San Francisco, Josh Williams might just be their guy. And remember, we'll be covering every twist and turn of Miami's GM search right here. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss what happens next. The final name we'll break down today is Ian Cunningham, the assistant GM of the Chicago Bears, a name that keeps popping up whenever there's talk about the next wave of NFL front office leaders. Cunningham has been Ryan Poles' right-hand man in Chicago since 2022, and his resume is stacked with experience from some of the most respected organizations in football. Before joining the Bears, he spent over a decade between the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles, from 2008 to 2021, working on the personnel and scouting sides that helped shape multiple playoff-caliber rosters. He's been recognized across the industry, making the Athletics 40 Under 40 list in 2020, and has already been in the mix for several GM openings. Cunningham interviewed for jobs with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Los Angeles Chargers, Tennessee Titans, and even the Las Vegas Raiders over the past couple of years. Clearly, his name carries weight. But here's the big question. Is Ian Cunningham simply a hot interview candidate? Or is he the real deal, the kind of steady, strategic mind who could finally help the Miami Dolphins reach the next level? His blend of experience, discipline, and team-building insight makes him a serious contender. Now, a quick honorable mention, Louis Riddick from ESPN. Many fans keep bringing him up as a potential hire, and while he does have legitimate front office experience, previously serving as director of player personnel for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's been several years since he's actively worked inside an NFL organization. Transitioning from the media world back into a high-pressure GM seat would be a massive challenge, and the Dolphins might prefer someone who's been in the trenches more recently. At the end of the day, Miami's next general manager will shape not just the roster, but the entire identity of this franchise. Whether it's Champ Kelly, Ray Agnew, Ed Dods, Chad Alexander, Josh Williams, or Ian Cunningham, the choice will define the Dolphins' future. So Dolphins fans, who do you believe should take the reins? Let your voice be heard in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a single update as we track this GM search every step of the way. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I truly believe the Miami Dolphins need to hire someone who brings stability, toughness, and long-term vision. The next GM can't just be another flashy hire. This team needs a leader who sets the tone, builds a winning culture, and earns the respect of that locker room from day one. Now, don't get me wrong, I respect Louis Riddick. Everything he says on ESPN about leadership and accountability hits home. He's smart, articulate, and passionate about the game. But I just think Miami needs someone who's been in the trenches recently, someone who's been part of the day-to-day grind of roster construction, contract negotiations, and scouting over the last 5 years. That's the kind of presence that changes an organization. So here's how I'd personally rank my top 5 GM candidates for the Miami Dolphins right now. Ed Dods, Assistant GM, Indianapolis Colts, a proven evaluator with an eye for talent and championship experience. Chad Alexander, Assistant GM, Los Angeles Chargers, a rising star with leadership traits and that Baltimore pedigree. Josh Williams, Director of Pro Scouting and Player Personnel, San Francisco 49ers, smart, disciplined, and part of one of the best-run organizations in football. Ray Agnew, Assistant GM, Detroit Lions, a former player turned builder who knows how to create physical, balanced rosters. Ian Cunningham, Assistant GM, Chicago Bears, a strategic thinker and respected voice in front office circles. Now, of course, this list could evolve as the weeks go on. The Dolphins may interview some, all, or none of these names, but right now, this is how I see it. Each of these candidates brings something different to the table, and Miami's choice will define the team's direction heading into 2026. We'll be following every move, every rumor, and every development right here. So, make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and turn on notifications, because when the Dolphins finally hire their new general manager in January, you better believe we'll be going live to break it all down. This is the dawn of a new era in Miami. Let's hope the next GM is the one who finally brings the Dolphins back to greatness.